From cars that are used by the most important people on Earth, the one that is powered by turbine engines, here are the 10 most unusual cars in the world. Number 10. The Popemobile. This car definitely looks unusual, but its weird looks has a noble purpose, and that is to transport the head of the Roman Catholic Church on his travels across the globe. And there isn't just one of these vehicles, there's a fleet of them. Dubbed by the world as Popemobiles, they aren't custom-built vehicles, but rather heavily modified versions of production cars that allow the Pope to be seen by crowds. Many of the Popemobiles are modified Mercedes-Benz M-Class and G-Class SUVs. They are customized with elevated platforms and surrounded with bulletproof glass. However, Popes often use locally manufactured vehicles when he parades around in foreign countries. Number 9. The Karlmann King. What looks like an F-117 stealth fighter is priced like a supercar and is outfitted with a uniquely luxurious interior. It's the Karlmann King. Built in 2018, it was and is still the most expensive SUV in the world. This stealth-looking SUV is no soccer mom car, weighing at nearly 5 tons, and it comes with even the heftier price tag of $2.2 million. Like all things this outrageous, the King generated massive media attention when it was first introduced. And why wouldn't it? It's a custom SUV built on the chassis of a Ford F550 that stands out for their size and weirdly angular shape. It's absolutely massive, and bears a startling resemblance to the Batman's Tumbler, but it's the inside of the vehicle that truly sets them apart. This monster of a car is outfitted with a 45-inch flat panel display, any game console of your choice, opulent reclining seats, built-in coffee maker, and so much more. Number 8. The Stout Scarab. Only 9 of these cars were produced, making the surviving examples prized among collectors. It was a rear-engine and rear-wheel drive, with a unique unibody construction instead of a more standard design of a body riding on a separate chassis. The Scarab seated up to 6 people in its well-furnished cabin. It included polished wood trim, a headliner made of wicker, and a card table. The mini seats could swivel up to 180 degrees, making the vehicle the perfect mobile office of the time. The Stout Scarab designer, William Bushnell Stout, was the Ford Motor Company executive and also worked on the most successful airplane of the era, the Ford Trimotor. Number 7. The Suzuki X90. In the early days of the SUV boom, designs were far from what we call standard today. Automakers experimented with many different designs, which in hindsight was the automotive equivalent of throwing anything at the wall and see what would stick. Some of the designs did work, while others not so much, like the bizarre vehicle we now know as the Suzuki X90. Talk about having an identity crisis. This subcompact vehicle was a part two-door coupe, part SUV, and kind of a convertible with a T-top roof. Aside from looking like a giant rolling tennis shoe, the X90 didn't have much success. Despite having a car-like appearance, it was built on a truck's chassis, which meant that it didn't handle very well. It also had a car-like trunk that was too small to be really useful. Its 95 horsepower engine didn't actually burn rubber as well. The X90 was only sold from 1996 to 1998. Number 6. The Amphicar 770. In the 1960s, nearly 4,000 people thought that buying a car that doubled as a boat was a brilliant idea. Even today's SUVs can't do that. A little while later, the same 4,000 people found out that the car that they bought wasn't as much of a car, and it wasn't much of a boat as well. The Amphicar 770 was a perky little thing with a steel body and a folding roof, remarkable only by the peculiar way the front end abruptly cuts away at the bottom. And if you look closely, you'll find a pair of propellers slung below the rear engine, just tucked behind the bumper. It meant that you could, if you had the urge to, drive straight off the road and into any body of water. It was named the 770 because it was able to reach 7 miles per hour on the water, and 70 miles per hour on land. In fact, in 1965, a pair of them crossed the English Channel without sinking, even though the water came dangerously close to lapping over the doors, which could potentially sink the thing. As only around 4,000 amphicars were sold, it's very rare and is sought after by vintage car collectors. If you want one, and you're lucky to find one in good condition, they sell for around $100,000. Number 5. The Taylor Aero Car. From a car trying to be a boat, we now move to a car trying to be like a plane. Quite understandable, as powered flight and practical automobiles emerge about the same time. Inventors have been trying to merge the two ever since. Few have done so with very little success, like Moulton Taylor, who founded Aerocar International in the late 1940s, a time when civil aviation was booming thanks to a new generation of pilots trained in World War II. Aerocar International's first effort was the Aerocar, built to 1949 and first flown in 1950. It had a small two-passenger cabin with wheels housed in external airplane-like spats. A Lycoming O320 horizontally opposed four-cylinders aircraft engine mounted in the rear of the cabin produced 143 horsepower and drove the front wheels via 3-speed manual transmission. The engine connected to a pusher propeller via a shaft hidden behind the rear license plate. The Aerocar had a top road speed of 67 miles per hour and a cruising speed of 55 to 60 miles per hour. In the air, it had a top speed of 110 miles per hour, a cruising speed of 100 miles per hour, and a maximum altitude of 12,000 feet, and a range of 300 miles. Number 4. The Walk Car. There are microcars, and then there is this. A car as small as a laptop that you can carry around in a backpack. Japanese company Kokoa Motors launched Walk Car, a portable vehicle you can carry around like a laptop. The 6.4-pound vehicle, which has the same size as a 13-inch laptop, offers a new lifestyle choice that is not dependent on any transportation network. Thanks to its small size, users can alternate easily between riding Walk Car and walking, while it automatically stops at the user's footstep when they get off the vehicle. But then again, I think the Walk Car's true purpose is to eliminate the need of walking altogether. Walk Car comes with a self-healing paint coating on its surface, which is hard to scratch and improves grip for more stable riding. It's made of carbon fiber and aircraft-grade aluminum, making it both strong and lightweight. It took Kokoa Motors 5 whole years just to develop the motor for the Walk Car, which enables it to drive at a speed of 16 kilometers per hour, and on slopes with a 10-degree incline. Yeah, it's technically not a car, but including this unusual vehicle in this video is simply too good to pass up. Number 3. The Water Car Python. Southern California-based Water Car is another boat-car hybrid that threw its hat into the ring. But where the amphicar failed, the Water Car succeeded. With the tagline of the world's fastest amphibious vehicles, Water Car has made a big splash on the presumably small market of individuals who'd rather drive their boat to its next date on the waves than tow it, and are willing to fork over the $200,000 for the privilege. Water Car initially drew attention with its Chevy Camaro-esque body, built to smoothly switch modes from car to powerboat as soon as it left the launch ramp. The sportiest version of the Python combines a custom fiberglass truck body with the buoyancy of a boat. You can drive it right into the water and transition directly to powerboat mode. Water Car claims the Python can do 60 miles per hour on the water with its LS1 Corvette engine and more than 125 miles per hour on land. Number 2. The Peel 50. Narrower than a telephone booth, if you still remember what those are, and shorter than a Vespa scooter, the Peel P50 microcar is officially the world's smallest car. The vehicle was designed to be small, but not for the sake of being small, but because of the world situation back in the day that it was made. After World War II, both Europe and Japan needed cars that were very fuel efficient and made of very little raw material. That's why the classic Fiat 500 has a fabric sunroof rather than a fully metal one. Steel was more expensive. Hence microcars were born, which were frugality taken to the extreme. The original Peel P50, made on UK's Isle of Man, is the extreme end of that. At 54 inches long, 47 inches tall, and 40 inches wide, it's officially recognized as the smallest production car in the world by the Guinness Book of World Records. These vehicles are extremely rare, and collectors are prepared to pay upwards of $150,000 on a fully restored original. But if you badly need one, but don't have that kind of money, it's still being reproduced and sold at a much more affordable price at around $16,000. Number 1. The Chrysler Turbine. The Chrysler Turbine was a car ahead of its time. Instead of being powered by a standard piston engine, at the heart of this beast was a turbine engine. It was only in production from 1963 to 1964, making it one of the rarest cars in the world. The A831 engines that powered the Ghia-designed turbine car could operate on many different fuels, required less maintenance, and lasted longer than conventional piston engines, although they were much more expensive to produce. A total of 55 cars were built, 5 prototypes, and a limited run of 50 cars for public user programs. After the conclusion of the user program in 1966, Chrysler reclaimed all of the cars and destroyed all but 9 of them. Chrysler kept 2 cars, 5 are on display at museums in the United States, and 2 are in private collections.